Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, James. Good morning, family, friends. It's Thursday.
It is. We already know what time it is. It's the end of the week, but that does not mean you stop grinding. You got to get to that closing table, baby. And this is the closing table. And I'm James Garman.
This is Daniel White. We are at the closing table, ladies and gentlemen.
We're back at it. And if you all, been missing us because we wasn't around Monday, we totally understand. But we want to welcome you back, of course. Been a busy week. Had some travel on my behalf. Me and the beautiful wife went out to Florida to see that beautiful bald head guy right there. And to connect with the rest of the team. And I must say it was really enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable to see everyone. And if you missed it, then you missed it. That's all I can tell you.
James, I agree, man. A lot of people think that we probably work in different offices here in Florida or in Georgia, and little they know that we are in two different states.
We are definitely.
It was awesome to see you guys and connect and mastermind and talk about getting to the closing table more often. And man, exciting times, exciting things coming for all of us, right?
Indeed. I totally agree. And for everybody who's listening, if you are an agent or you're an agent with somebody else, we are also hosting a event in Tampa, May 25th. There are tickets out there at Eventbrite, free to get in. If you are looking to come and, just get some information, learn how to grow your business, learn how to grow your opportunities. We definitely look forward to seeing you there. Hope that you can all come out and just kind of vibe with us and get to know us and see if we can benefit you in some form or fashion.
Yeah, start recognizing our faces now before they get all over those billboards and commercials, right? I'm excited about May 25th. We're gonna talk about the economy, talk about where things are going. We're gonna have an inspector out there. We're gonna have an attorney out there. We're gonna have us out there giving tips for the closing table and trying to get, making sure that you're doing all the right things to get to a table to close, right? Obviously, that's important, And we're going to have anywhere between 80 to 100 people out there. So it'll be very nice, very exciting, very informational for all. And I'm looking to lock it all up, hopefully by next week or so,
Yeah,
So
definitely. So with that being said, again, welcome to the closing table. Good morning, Dolores. Good morning to Tattoo Realtor Ashley Van Pelt, again with EXP. Love it. You already know, part of the team. That's the family right there. Good morning, B Walker. Beautiful. Good morning, Destiny as well. Hope you all are, again, having a great morning and, making the best of your day, your week. And if you don't know, if you haven't been listening, again, we just want to say, prepare yourself for the future, because that's the biggest thing you could do in your career right now, in your life, is prepare yourself for the future. As you see, the title today is called Something Big is Happening. So get prepared. We want you to be prepared because honestly, I can't say what it is. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but something huge is about to happen, good or bad, depending on your current situation, is all I can tell you. But we're going to dive into some of the things that are going on in our economy today and how you can prepare yourself a little bit better on sustaining yourself through the typhoon. Before we get started real quick, Daniel, I want to say make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell if you're on YouTube, so you can be notified every time we go live. Also, if you're on Facebook watching, please share to your friends, your family members, anybody that could benefit from this conversation that we're having today and any other day we are doing our podcast. So we look forward to speaking to you all. Please jump in the comment section if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you really have something to add to this conversation. We would love to hear from you. Do not be afraid to jump in the comment section. We will read off your comments as they come
James,
across.
how far are you guys from Atlanta?
Depending on the traffic, 35, 40 minutes.
All right. Next time, my wife is there in your city right now.
I did hear you talking
claiming all that stuff, man. And if I would have known you were that close, we may have had an in-house session there.
Yeah. Like anytime she's coming to Atlanta, let us know. We would love to grab lunch with her, grab some coffee or something, and just kind of vibe out.
Yep. So, All right. Well, she's enjoying that. It was a little bit of a temperature change from Florida to there
It's
yesterday.
raining here. It's raining here by my house now. I don't know what it's like in Atlanta, but yeah, it's raining up this way.
Well, good. We've got all that rain, right?
I mean, listen, I was not expecting to come to Florida and get so much rain. Like it was like the whole time I was there it was raining, bro. Like I'm so disappointed right now. So
James, that's because we haven't had rain in like a month.
y'all was on y'all way to dehydration, right?
Don't be saying that. People, friends, and family of the closing table in Florida will be sending you a message. Hey, can you come back and visit so we can get some rain? You know.
We don't want y'all dying out from dehydration out there, man. We don't need all the palm trees dying out. So
yeah, exactly.
It had to rain when I came. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah. Overall though, yeah, man, great week, great experience. Market is still moving in real estate. I know the market is still moving in insurance. Your wife's down here in Atlanta with a client now, huh?
Yep.
Correct. So yeah, so the market's still moving. That's a good thing. Overall, the government is telling us that we're no longer where we're not as far as into inflation as they want to let us know. And I tell you all this every week. The government don't tell us that we're in a recession or we're in this inflationary period until we're almost out of this inflationary period, and until we're almost out of the recession or the big reset, as we like to call it here. So how many of you are prepared? That's one of the big questions. Like, how many of you are prepared for what's to come, for what's going to happen, in the next year or two? Because that's the goal, being prepared. So, Daniel, my first question to you is, what is looking like on your end, man? How is inflation looking to you right now?
James, I thought about this the other day, actually on my long drive back from Orlando to Land O'Lakes, right? After we had met, we had a great meeting. We were sitting there talking. And of course, you're watching, listening to YouTube and these different channels that are coming up and stuff. And I'd say right now, you should be preparing for 2024. I think, you should make sure that you have all your ducks in a row with your finances. Right now is definitely not the time to be going out there and, purchasing a $50,000, $60,000 truck car. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows. Yes, the market for you and I, James, in our areas is still pushing forward, which is great. But we don't know what happens in 12 months from now. So, right now we're riding this wave. And in 12 months, it could be at that point with the economy, with the election coming up and everything else. I mean, there's definitely going to be a change. I think 2023 right now, you've got 6-7 months left. Prepare, get yourself in line with your finances, with what you're spending your money on, and get ready for 2024. Because again, with the election here, James, I know it's going to be a mess. It is going to be a mess. There's going to be so much negative talk coming out of every candidate. It is just going to drain people. It's going to cause people to go insane because of that talk.
Yeah, I would agree. There's going to be a lot of distractions and a lot of things that cause people to stay on edge, keeping our economy, keeping our society, wound up in a bitterness, because that's what elections do every year, every 4 years, 3 to 3 years. It keeps us wound up in who's going to be the next president, who's going to be the next best president. But yeah, and speaking of what's going on, how do you think this is going to affect DeSantis, with Disney suing him with the claims that he orchestrated a campaign, a retaliation against the company for exercising free speech, man, with his Don't Say Gay campaign that, that Don't Say Gay campaign that Disney had going, and he's kind of banning that or banned that. How do you think that's going to fly with his situation if he decides to run for president?
it doesn't matter which candidate is there or who's going to run. Like, there's always going to be some crazy story of why he or she shouldn't do this or he or she did them. It's just ridiculous. It's already started, right? Like, I mean, I'm glad that we're talking about this because I thought about it on Tuesday when I saw the video of, you know, Donald Trump coming out there when Biden announced his run for re-election, right? For 4 minutes, it was all the, and again, I don't care if you are Democrat, Republican, that's not where I'm going with this. For 4 minutes and 26 seconds, it was everything bad that Biden has done, blah, blah, blah. He's done this, he's corrupt, he's done all this. How about for 4 minutes and 26 seconds, you tell the citizens, the hardworking men and women in the United States, what you're going to do to change it. Stop for 4 minutes just beating somebody up. Obviously, everybody knows where the economy is. Everybody has their opinion. Tell us what you're going to do. How are you going to stop the BRICS? How are you going to stop the American dollar decreasing? That's what we want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I don't know, James. That's what I want to hear. I'm tired of, hey, let me beat this guy up. Let me beat this woman up because they didn't do this. They didn't do this. Just tell me and tell every other U.S. citizen what you're going to do to make it right. That's what we want.
Got you. And I can agree, like, what could be better, delivered, or, or more of a conscious delivery about how you're going to fix the economy. But I think the strategy for every president, for everybody who runs for these political offices, it's a blueprint. The blueprint has to be followed. The first 6 months is always this person ruined this way. This person did this. So I just think most of the time they're just following the blueprint that has been given to them.
Obviously, James, and then we're going to drive down the street, red car, blue car, and they're going to hate each other and they're going to fight because they're on two different sides. That's my point. Like that, we went through that with Trump and his reelection, bid with Biden. Like, that's how it was. It was so crazy and people were just at each other's throats. They couldn't even have conversations. I mean, I can look back 4 years ago and go through the social media feeds and like somebody would make a comment from either side and it would be 300 comments and 299 of those comments were like, oh, how dare you, how you do this. Like, that's not what we need. Right. I don't think that our founding fathers wanted it to be like that. And that, in my opinion, is where we are headed, as well as who knows what's going to happen. Interest rates going up and all of that stuff. 2023, 6 months, 7 months left. Prepare, get your finances, get everything in line, know what you're doing, because I'm sure we're all in for one hell of a ride come 2024.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. There's definitely going to be a situation that's going to cause the world and economy to really, be shaken up. But again, I think when it comes to these presidents, man, that I don't think we're going to ever see a change in that approach. And again, Biden has ruined the damn economy. I mean, he even said it himself. Biden has dropped 34% in the polls. But again, like I told Bernadette, what polls are those? Like where are they getting those polls from? Like,
yes, exactly.
Who are they asking? So we never know. These polls are always this and that, screwed one way, left, right or left. We never really know. But overall, I mean, personal opinion, I do think, there has been a lot of unnecessary economical strains going on since Biden has been in office. A lot more people are suffering. A lot of big box businesses are going out of business. There's a lot going on since he's been in office, and I guess I haven't heard anything on how he's going to fix it. What he's currently broken in my eyes. Like, I'm not going to say it's just him directly, but there's a lot going on. Like, let's talk about that real quick. Big box businesses like Target is on the brink of bankruptcy and going out of business.
Bed Bath and Beyond just filed bankruptcy or whatever, right? They tried to hold off forever, and they just filed this week. I believe it was this week, Monday.
Monday. Yep. Kohl's are on the verge of filing bankruptcy. Claire's is on the verge of shutting down its stores. You have Amazon. Amazon has halted the build of new Amazon warehouses and department stores. Their Amazon 4-star um, um, I'm sorry, stores are closing down. Their Amazon Ghost stores are not opening up. Whole Foods are stopping their expansion in the world. Like there's so much going on when it comes to these big boxes that dictates a lot of our economical growth. And if we're starting to lose a lot of that, then where does that put us? We are definitely in an inflationary state or process right now. If you just look at things like well, the government is telling us inflation is at 6.5%, but it's almost like, how can you believe that? Well, you can't believe that if you look at the new way that inflation is even being calculated. We used to look at inflation on a 4-year scale. Now we're only looking at inflation on a 2-year scale, which doesn't seem to make sense to me. Don't seem to make sense to anybody that we would change up the calculations of how to measure inflation. So right now, the government is only stating that we're at 6.5%. But how can we be at a 6.5% inflation rate when you have milk at a 50% hike? You have eggs at 107% hike, depending on what economy you're currently in or where you're located. You have chicken up 10.5%, and we already know when inflation happens, turkey and chicken is the first thing we all run to because beef is so damn high, right? And then you have butter up 25%, bread up 15%. So it doesn't make any sense to sit here and even be stating that we are only at a 6.5% inflation rate. It's more like 10 or 11% at this point. And we're not even talking about gas. We're not even talking about oil. We're not even talking about the other things that we need to live off of.
James, you just scared the crap out of me. I don't want to go to the grocery store now at all. I'm gonna be
Man, I
broke.
mean, everything is freaking expensive, bro. But yeah, like that's the reason why we're not getting so many people into these Whole Foods. Who can afford Whole Foods food right now? You know, we know Whole Foods is expensive as shit. You know, like Amazon may be shutting down more stores than they build over the next few years. You know, so how do you feel about that, bro?
I mean, you could tell when you go into the department stores, right? Like clothing stores, stuff like that. You could tell, like I read an article that a lot of these stores are holding tight on the items. Like, so for fall to spring, like they're keeping items out longer just because they didn't sell everything for like their fall um line of clothing, right? Like they didn't make the numbers that they wanted to do. So they're holding it out a little bit longer before they roll out the next line, or it may not even roll it out is what I'm hearing. Right. So, the online presence, nowadays, I mean, I do think that we have smarter consumers when it comes to that, because now there's multiple platforms for them to find. If they go into, let's say Kohl's. They go into Kohl's and they see a shirt or a pair of pants. I mean, we have our phones. Now people are looking, okay, is that a good price? Can I get it better? Can I get it cheaper?
Right.
Oh, I got to wait a day to get it. Or with Amazon, it's kind of like, hey, next day or same day delivery, right? And they save 30 or 40 bucks, even with having to pay for the service charge or delivery fee, whatever it is. So, yeah, it's scary, but I mean, honestly, it's the way that we're trending right now.
Yeah.
Commercial buildings are going to be hurting.
Yeah,
Commercial buildings are going to be hurting.
I personally think we're trending downwards. I think we're trending downwards in our economic growth. We're trending downward in our global growth. We're trending down even when we speak about the yuan. Well, not that's the yuan. That's the measurement of the Chinese currency. I don't know if you know, but they just recently took over they surpassed the dollar on the forex market. So right now they're saying the yuan of the ruble is more it has more value than the dollar right now, and it's almost like, how the hell is that possible? Like, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? You know, where the Chinese dollar is the Chinese currency is outweighing the American dollar, and we've spoken about this multiple times when it comes to the BRICS. And again, if you don't know who the BRICS are, the British Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and also soon to be Saudi Arabia, coming together and creating their the community of elites to try to overthrow the dollar.
I'm looking here really quick.
No, take your time. One thing I do find weird is that this is not something that is in mainstream media right now as well. Like, this is not the stuff that we're talking about in mainstream media.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, that's because, right, James? I mean, you've got to do your own homework. You've got to dig into it as well, right? Like, we don't have 3 hours to sit down and talk about this, right? People wouldn't listen for 3 hours. So you've got to kind of go and do your own homework and research and figure it all out. Point. It's I'm not getting any information here that I can and share. I'm getting a whole bunch of different websites right now. I'm like, all right, that's not what I want.
No, no one is talking about that, because again, the things that they want us focused on is BS entertainment. There's a lot of people running around here focused on the wrong crap. And while this was happening, you also have to realize Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox. Don Lemon was fired from CNN. This was a bigger conversation. Why was this a bigger conversation? Because it's more appealing to the masses. Overall, when it comes to our political parties and the ones who control our perspectives on the news and everything else, they push out something. One thing I've always understood is, if you're focused on something as small as Tucker Carlson, and we're going to talk about that in a second as well, and Don Lemon, if you're focused on something as small as Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, then there's always something bigger in play. There's always a bigger play. There's always something else going on. Just like no one is talking about the Fed now. There's a few people talking about the Fed now, program, but there's not a lot of people talking about it. They'd rather talk about aliens, coming in and alien spaceships, or some redacted forms from 2009, 2002, from the 9/11 attack. Yeah. That's the type of stuff that they put in front of us to keep us distracted from other things that are going on that can actually help you be more prepared for when the economy actually shifts. So for me, like, I'm trying to look past the BS. I'm trying to look past the shit that they put out there for us to consume right now, and start to look at the smaller little scrolling news clips that are coming at the bottom of those articles, when they're on the news talking about them, because that's what you should be focused on. They don't talk about the big things on national or on the news that they push out to the regular consumers.
Yeah. No, that whole thing there is, like you said, man, it's crazy, right? I just watched Tucker Carlson's video with Elon Musk. I thought it was a great interview. We talked about that, did we not?
Yes, we talked about that. Yes, we talked about it, but we said we was going to bring it up a little bit on here today.
And so, that interview there, you're thinking, man, this guy's relaxed. He's sitting down in his chair. He's having a good conversation. I mean, I think it was an hour and 30 minutes or so, that interview. You're like, man, this guy's the top of the world. You hear what's kind of going on, the lawsuits and all of that stuff, but you're like, well, guy brings 3.2, 3.5 million viewers every single night to his show. I don't agree with everything that he says. I do not. Let's make that clear. But there's content that he brings out against the war and all of that stuff that I can relate to. And then instantly, James, boom, he's fired. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And I joked with you, right? I was like, hey, man, one of your favorite people to watch is gone. What are you going to watch now, James?
And the thing is, I think what it is overall, they needed, like we said, they needed a head on a stake. And, they couldn't just put anybody up there for the fact that, Fox came out and said that the Dominion machines were rigged. They needed somebody that had a political, a strong, a reach approach, and I think Tucker was the one. But I think Fox negotiated if Tucker has to leave, then Don Lemon has to leave as well. And he was already on the chopping block.
That dude made a comment. Tucker has started to speak out. Keep an eye on his interview and all that stuff. He hasn't come out with an interview yet, right? Has he? That I didn't miss anything yet.
No. I think he's right now he's in talks with actually getting a bigger contract, having a bigger role over at OAN News, where they may make him director. He may be in negotiations to taking that deal. But
do you think he's going to play along with everyone else? Here's the question, right? Here's a question for everybody. Do you think he'll play along? Do you think he got a big enough bonus to stay quiet and not talk about what's going on in Fox and him and his departure and all of that stuff? I think he got paid a big enough bonus. I think the interview, I hope I'm wrong, but I think the interview is just going to be sweet and simple and love Fox for the opportunity and all of that stuff, and then move on. That's what I think happens.
I mean, I don't think
it would hurt me, James. It would hurt me if he does that, because I don't take, like I said, I don't like everything he does, but when he does an interview with people, there's some passion there, right? And I hope he just doesn't take the big paycheck. I hope he explains. I hope he throws a couple people under the bus, maybe expose some other people there. Because
I doubt if he does that.
Yeah.
I doubt if he does that. I definitely think it's going to be more of a money play for him. I definitely think it's going to be just, hey, I'm gonna solidify my future, because again, the man is more. He's very impactful. The reason why Tucker Carlson is so impactful is because the way he actually interviews. There's no one out there who interviews like he asks the hard questions. That's what we've been missing in journalism for a long time. Like the one guy who just recently interviewed Elon Musk, I can't remember his name, but he interviewed Elon Musk and he was asking Elon Musk questions that had no basis. Like, hey, how do you continue this with all the sexism and the racism on your platform? And Elon Musk was like, what sexism? What racism? Like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? You know?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's on your platform. He was like, okay, give me one example of what you've seen or what you read. And it was, no, I don't know. I personally don't know. So you're just past. This is why journalism is so important. If you're going to be a journalist, ask the real questions, go into real detail about what is what, how things came about, like have some hard facts. The whole thing with Trump, like they're asking Trump, benign questions that actually doesn't matter. That like you're asking questions about a situation that you don't have any real facts about. It's just he said, she said stuff. And I think we need to get away from that when it comes to our news sources and get back to the real questions being asked. That's what journalism is, not just my opinion, my opinion, my opinion. Your opinion as a journalist shouldn't even freaking matter. You should be talking facts only. And I don't think we have that. And I think Tucker Carlson gave us that. And Don Lemon, at some point, he used to be one of those type of people. He used to bring us facts, but then it became my opinion, my opinion. And I think that's what we, stopped liking about Don. He just became more of a puppet for pushing propaganda than to actually focus on what was actual factual. So for me, Tucker Carlson, I think no matter where he goes, he's going to uphold that. He's going to uphold that strong narrative and those values of being a real journalist. And as long as he's doing that, it doesn't matter where he goes. He's going to be able to really bring the essence of journalism back to us. And that's what we want as people. We want facts. We don't want perspectives.
No, I agree with you there. I think he has a way huger platform and audience now that he's not tied to someone. He will definitely be able to speak a little bit more freely. And again, he has, he has a great crew around him, from writers, researchers, all of that stuff. So he's not going to struggle. He's still going to be able to talk. And you are absolutely right. He is up there right now. I mean, I can't compare another interview with him because I just don't know. I've been watching him a lot lately. And, I like his approach. I like the way that he, interviews with people. So I think he's got a bright future. He already had a bright future. But how long was he with Fox? Because Don Lemon was there for like 17 years. I think a lot of times these men and women kind of, they need to break, right? Like we shouldn't have a a president for 17 years in a row, right? We'd be
I don't
crazy.
know.
That's why we do it 4 and 8.
I'm starting to lean more towards having longer presidents, just to kind of give them an opportunity to do something. Because all this 4-year stuff, man, is it's just I don't know. It just seemed like we need more time, or a president needs more time, and having to fight for his position.
So what's the right time? You want Biden or Trump in there for 10 years?
I mean, if we had Trump in there for another, not Trump, but if we had Biden in there for 7 years before we had to go and do another candidacy, I think honestly, this is my honest opinion. I think he'd probably be he would be fired. Like we would get him
fired. He'd be impeached.
He'd be impeached before that time.
They just all walk out. House Speaker, everybody.
Yeah, I think
like reside.
So that's just my thing. Like, I think he'll be gone before then. So
I'm assuming he'll be gone November. What is it? 12th November, something like that. Whatever the election day is.
November 12th. Well, actually, not until January, of course.
Yeah, until January. But at that point, if he doesn't get reelected, he's pretty much done at that point. House, Indeed. They won't do nothing. So, but Don Lemon, where do you think he goes?
Don Lemon goes nowhere. Don Lemon is done. Nobody respects Don Lemon's perspective. He's a race pusher. He pushes nothing but racial issues. He likes to create racial tensions, something we do not need in our economy right now. Every time there's a president that CNN didn't like, they'll use Don Lemon to press some type of race issue, some type of, this is why we always see this happening at certain times. Don Lemon is at the forefront of, well, black people will need to stand up, and, there's always this racial tension coming from him and CNN. I think CNN has realized now they need to get away from that. Look at their numbers. Their numbers have dropped over the since they didn't have anything to talk about outside of Donald Trump. Once Donald Trump wasn't in office anymore, bro, they had nothing else to talk about. What was there to talk about? Nothing on CNN but race. And then it was Trump every now and then. Let's sprinkle some more Trump in here, because that's the only thing that kept our ratings up the whole 4 years that Trump was in office. So no, Don Lemon is done. He's dead in the water. And
that interview that he had was with one of the presidential candidates, correct? He recently that they were talking about race, and like he was like, you can't talk about black people because I'm a black person. You can't say that and stuff like that. I thought that was one of the reasons why he got fired.
Well, it's definitely one of the many reasons he got fired.
Yeah,
because he should have been fired. Like he should have got fired 5 years ago. Like the guy sucks at being a journalist. He's trying to speak directly from the black perspective, which we don't need in journalism. We need we need a universal perspective. We need someone who can just ask questions and stop trying to relate. And those people who do those interviews that just press their opinion, like I said, I can't get behind them. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely it definitely sucks that we are seeing so much happen at one time. But again, all of these things are just small little distractions, keeping us away from the bigger issues. Like, again, inflation, people. Inflation is happening. How much money do each one of you can say that you have tucked away right now for a rainy day? If you don't have 6 months to 8 months tucked away for a rainy day, you're in a bad position. You're in a really, really bad position. And this is not me trying to flame you for your position. I'm saying start to do things different right now. If you don't start to do things different right now, you're going to see yourself on one of those, what they call it, I forget what they call it, but you don't want to be in tent city. You don't want to be in tent city. The only way you can do that is stop overspending right now. People, it's not the time to be spending unnecessary money. Money is to be invested wisely. I'm not saying save your money, but only save your money if you can convert it to gold, silver, or some type of precious metal that you can then turn around and sell for the future purposes of your existence. This is not the time to be spending unnecessary money. This is not the time to be taking unnecessary vacations. If you don't believe me, then just sit back and watch and wait, because it's going to happen. It is definitely going to happen.
James, I feel like we should have a sign in front of the cruise ships. Don't go. Save it.
And it's like almost, man, we're in a time now.
Buy real estate.
Right. And I agree. But we are in a time now where people are so blind to the structure of our downfall that it's only makes sense to keep pumping themselves with entertainment. I need to entertain myself out of this notion that the world is as bad as it is. I need to do something to get my mind off the fact that I just worked 5 or 6 days this week, and all of the money that I have, is going to go to bills. So everything I have left, I need to go and enjoy it. Because we sell ourselves this narrative that we need to enjoy our fruits of our labor. We need to go out and spend the extra $100. We need to go out and go hang out with our friends. I don't care about any of that stuff, people. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just saying prepare yourself, because something big is happening. We have the presidential election coming up. We have inflation on the rise right now. We have car companies right now who are shutting down. We have car companies shutting down. We have banks not giving loans to the average person. When the last time, if anybody in the comment section can answer this question, when was the last time you got a credit card in the mail that said anything over $250? Just a year and a half ago, you was getting $1,500 credit cards, and your credit ain't changed. Your credit score ain't changed. But why you no longer getting those $1,500 credit cards in the mail? Tell me why at this point right now the banks aren't funding certain people in credit scores. Why? Because we're in a horrible position economically. The debt ceiling just got raised yesterday. What happened if the debt ceiling didn't get raised? Then you got people that's on SSI, people that's giving government assistance. That money's gone. That money's gone. You're not getting those food stamps. If they didn't raise the debt ceiling, if the Democrats and Republicans didn't come to an agreement, then you no longer have those military payments going out, which means the military is not getting paid to defend you, which means we're vulnerable. Then on top of that, the banks can't be bailed out when they need to be bailed out. Then you have government officials not getting paid, no police getting paid. This is what I am saying. We are in a situation where we just had to raise the debt ceiling yesterday. That means we are on the brink of freaking bankruptcy in government. This is happening one too many times.
Way too many times, man. I do not remember it in years and years past. I mean, I know it happens, but it has happened real. Threats of the government shutdown again. Can the two sides come to agreements and all of that stuff, man? It's overwhelming. Maybe that's why people are going out spending money. They're like, well, shit, it's over,
So yeah, it's like, open your eyes, people. Open your eyes, because it is real what's happening out here. And this is not to scare you. This is to open your eyes, to prepare you to get on your shit. Honestly, like, stop focusing on things that you cannot control when it comes to the outside sources that are giving you your news. Focus on the things that you can't control, like your own finances, your own household. Don't go, like Daniel said earlier. Stop thinking you need to go out there and buy a new car. Like, if your car is broke down, I'm sorry. Find other means of transportation. Go buy you a bike. A bike is a great way to get your health where it needs to be. Stay active. Keep exercising. But at the end of we're spending too much money, man. We're still
a bicycle. I'm not buying a bicycle, but buy yourself a reasonable car, right? A reliable one, like $20,000. You don't need $70,000 car. It's not necessary. You got that much money. If you've got that much money to buy for a car, guess what? James already said it. You should have 6 to 8 months reserved to take care of all of your bills without any question, whether you own a business or you don't. You work for a company. You should have that money. If you're a business owner, you should have that money put away as well for your employees and stuff like that. So, you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. Like I said, right now, I do think where we are economy wise, what we're looking at in the future, I do think right now you have enough time to make sure come 2024 that you've got all of that in line. Start right now if you have not, because we do not know what 2024 is going to bring us. My opinion, I think it's going to bring us a lot more chaos and craziness, but you've got 6 7 months to get that 6 month 8 month kind of hold, put it together, have a nest egg, so then that way if things do go crazy, and I hope they don't, but if they do, guess what, you're not sitting there sweating thinking, how am I going to make this work, how is this going to happen? So 6 8 months, 2023 should be the year that you start putting in place your safety nets.
I agree. I agree. And real quick, I don't want to go back to this for too much, but B. Walker said CNN makes every excuse for the failure of the Biden administration, then fills all their news with race baiting ads for all black people feel to make black people feel the way he feels, false narratives. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that notion as well. And as a black person in America, I couldn't relate to Don Lemon in a lot of ways. And to answer your question, Daniel, I know we kind of passed by it a minute ago. Tucker Carlson, he was on CNN when he first started his career back in 2001 when he left college, became a journalist. He started with CNN. You know, he had his own show, the Spin-off Show, and then something had happened. I don't know if you've seen that interview with. You may have. I think you're the one who sent me that, where he stated how he used to be real left. He used to be a super leftist. He used to spew a lot of leftist agendas or quote unquote, propaganda until he went over to Iraq himself or Afghanistan and seen for himself what was really going on. And he started to change his mind frame and his perspective of what kind of journalist he wanted to be. And he wanted to be a truth teller. So one of those things is what really, I think, inspired me to keep listening to the things he had to say when he does his interviews, because I think he's one of the only people to actually, ask real questions when it comes to interviewing.
James, I can't agree with you more, my friend. Right? Honestly, I said it before. I do not agree with everything in all the interviews that he has, but when he spoke about something, whether I liked it or not, God, it's tough to say facts, right? Because I'd have to fact check them, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that, he had a platform that he could express himself, and he did not always just do what his party wanted him to do. If you look at his interviews, there are topics and conversations that he's like, well, we do need to help this, right? Because if we don't help this, then this is what's going to happen. And so, I'm excited to see where he goes.
Yeah.
Now that he's not with Fox and he's not with CNN, right? Like, where is he at right now? Is he going to be our brand new, media guy, journalism coming out and really what it should be? It's exciting.
Yeah, and again, I would love to see that as well. And hopefully we can get a happy medium when it comes to journalism. He can set a new trend for journalists to come out and not be afraid to ask hard questions and not to even try to bait people into things that aren't really, what it is. Like even when he had that interview with Kanye West, I think it was a great interview because he didn't just allow Kanye West to say things without diving deeper into what that structure and what the basis of those things are. So the same thing he did with Elon Musk, the same thing he did with Trump. He's the type of guy who's not afraid of the masses. And I like those type of people. My Dave Chappelle's who are not afraid to challenge the masses, challenge the quota, of what we need to meet to say that we are this way or that way. It's like, I love that about those type of guys. And overall, listen to people like Tucker, listen to people, who are open to giving you the truth. Listen to people like me and Daniel, who are open to telling you this is not the time to be spending your money. I'm not saying that it's not but also remember, this is also a great time to make some real money. So it is a fine line, ladies and gents. It's a fine line in this world to watch the money you spend, take the money you have to make more money, and use that money to grow your future, your empire, your fortune. So
Be smart. Be smart.
be smart. Be
Yep.
smart. Definitely listen to somebody who is a financial advisor if you trust them, or you can make your own intelligent decisions to invest however you want to invest. But this is the time to be smart. Literally, no time. If you're here, it's because you know what you need to be doing. If you're here, it's because you know what you need to be doing. All the extra spending on the booze, on the party favors, let it go. Let it go. Start saving that money. So with that being said,
spend that extra money on some marketing.
Spend that extra money on some marketing, especially if you're in the business of real estate, insurance, and anything else like that. But definitely, if anybody don't have anything else to add, Daniel, I think it was a great show, bro. Man,
I love it, man. We didn't even talk about the mortgage changes, right? If your credit score is over 720, 740, you're going to pay more.
Yeah, and I actually did some research on that. I did a lot of research on that yesterday. Just real quick before we do have a minute or two before we have to go. The mortgage rates, I think, again, how we look at it is not really what it is. I think the way it's presented makes it seem worse than what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the way it's presented, it seems to be more trying to balance out this versus that. But it literally went up so little, bro. Like, the mortgage fees went up so little. I don't even think it really you can even see the difference. I mean, I don't even think you can see the difference in it, bro.
I had a conversation, and just like a quick synopsis of basically what happened is I don't know exactly what the credit score is, but if you have good credit, you're going to pay more fees than someone that has bad credit. And before, it was reverse, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So I had a conversation yesterday. Somebody came in and was talking, and they were really upset that, man, I've got an 800 credit score and I'm going to have to pay $60 more, blah, blah, blah. Right. So $60 more a month. You're talking $720 a year, whatever it is. Right. If you take the value of the home right now and what people can get mortgages for compared to where it was 24 months ago, somebody that is 19, 20 that wants to buy a house can't afford it right now. Like, you've got to make $50,000 a year to buy a $150,000 home if they do it 3 times their salary or whatever it is, right? So somebody that has a credit score of 720 or more, they're complaining about paying $60 more a month. Like, in my opinion, it's my opinion, that's selfish. Like, we want, the American dream is to own a home, right? That's what we want. That's the American dream. Grant Cardone would say different, but the American dream growing up is to own a home. And I would gladly spend $720, $800 more a year if I have a credit score of 700 or above, so that somebody at 20, 21 years old that is living paycheck to paycheck wants to get into a house. Come on.
I don't think that's the issue. And here it is right here. A federal rule enforced by Biden administration will make it so that people looking to buy a home with a credit score of 680 or higher will have to pay about $40 per month more than people with worse credit when taking out a home loan of $400,000. That's of $400,000 and above. But then you also have to ask yourself, this right here is also a false narrative, 680 or higher, because if you get to the 780 credit score, that doesn't apply to you. It's only
in between, but that's probably well, I don't know. Some of the deals I've seen, they've been at 640, right?
Right. So honestly, I think at this point what we have to realize is what they're looking to do is get people who are in that 680 and below credit score working and moving so they can get back into the housing market to make it a little bit more competitive. So with a more competitive housing market, with more buyers and less sellers, we can start seeing those prices drop a little bit, because we need more buyers in that price point, but they can't afford the 350. But with this, they're able to afford the 330s, the 350, $350,000 homes. So yeah, so with that being said, if you are really focused on what you're doing in life and focused on building your credit, you should have above a 680, 670 anyways. Like if you're not out here doing unnecessary shit with your credit. So work on getting your credit above a 780. It doesn't affect you anyway. So
780 or above.
yeah, 780 or above. B. Walker said that's not the point though, Daniel. I wouldn't care if it was $50 or point or 50 cents. It's not our job to help someone buy a house they can't afford.
Yeah, I mean it's not, but I'm going to use my daughter for an example, right? I mean, you're a parent, you want to help your kid any way that you can, and there are circumstances that come up that somebody that's making it, that has a house already, if you can help somebody else out, that's what you should do. That's what you should do.
That dude said, sorry, I can use the block from my foundation to build my neighbors. I think he means saying I can't use. He said to pay for my neighbor. He said, pay your share, not yours and theirs. So a lot of, some people are saying like everybody, for each his own, Like I shouldn't have to pay more because you didn't do what you needed to do to be able to afford a house.
I mean, I agree, but we're not talking thousands of dollars. If you're in that bucket, if you're between 680 and 780, what's $40 a month for you if you have a $400,000 house already? Like you would rather see somebody go make somebody else rich because they can't afford a house for $40 a month? I'm not saying we have to pay for everybody, but I mean it's a small group, but we should be looking at it on the side where if we can pay a little extra here to help somebody over here get into it, I'm all for it. People are going to hate me, not like it. I'm entitled to my opinion, and I think the opposite way. I think we need to stop looking at it as I don't want to pay everybody's way. We're not paying everybody's way. It's a small percentage of people that we potentially could help to get them to better themselves and stop making the guy that has the other properties where they're paying X amount of dollars for rent every month, making somebody else rich and not building their own equity to put them into a better place.
I can agree. I can agree with that part as well. B. Walker said the socialist mentality and is eventually going to lead to more concessions where the fine line is then skewed. I can kind of agree with that as well. It's like, at what point does that end? Like, what point does since I'm being taxed at 400,000, so someone can afford a 300,000, then where does that end? Where does it end for the person who's working?
I agree, because in 5 years something else will change. I'm just living in the moment right now.
And again, I agree, because again, as a realtor, my goal is to help my clients who are on that fine line, who can barely afford that house. Like, what can we do to help you get into that home? You're doing everything you need to do to be a homeowner. You've put everything into perspective to be a homeowner, but it's also this little small issue with the government numbers that is keeping you from moving in. But this helps Freddie Mac and Fannie Mac. This helps Freddie Mac and Fannie Mac continue doing what they do and be able to sell these bonds and these house bonds on the other market, on the secondary market, so we can get more activity in our housing market. Because without more activity in our housing market, prices are going to go so high that we're going to have an extremely amount of high homeless rates in America. Now, again, I'm okay with it depending on how it's implemented, but how is that any different than I'm paying all these taxes every year to get somebody food stamps? I'm paying all these taxes every year to get somebody their Social Security that they didn't work for. You know how many people out here on Social Security that didn't work for the Social Security they're getting? Is coming out of the hardworking middle class people like myself, anyways.
or
So
disability stuff like that.
yeah,
And
we're paying.
obviously they
Yeah,
can.
we're paying for the government properties. We're paying for the subsidized. All of it is coming from the American people now. You know, and I understand why do we have to keep putting more in that pot when we're not the ones who's using from that pot. I get it, but I mean, I don't know. It's a thin line, man. It's a
Well,
fine line.
we definitely started something for Monday, right? But
Yeah.
B. Walker said, yeah, but foreclosures will go up too, right? I don't think foreclosures on homes are going to be up as bad as it was in '08 and 12 and stuff like that. I think commercial is getting ready to go absolutely crazy.
But
The interest rates were so low, and it's time for those refinances to come up. I think we are going to see some vacant commercial buildings. We see them now, but I think we are going to see a lot more coming.
Yep, indeed. I totally agree. Well, with that being said, it was a great show, man. Welcome again, everybody, to the closing table. It's great to be back today. We missed this Monday, but we'll be back here Monday. And if you want to drop a comment at the end of this, at the bottom of the video on YouTube or Facebook, please, by all means, do that. I look forward to speaking to everybody in the near future. Other than that, stay positive. Continue to save your money. Put your money in the right places. If you save your money, save it in, some precious metals, invest it in something like that can gain value. But overall, listen, thank you all for tuning in. It was a pleasure being here again today. If you haven't already, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell. Until next time, have a great one, and we will see you all later.